We are going to select our new chair and our new vice chair. So, did you raise your hand?
Ready to make a motion if you'd like.
Please do.
First, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Kathleen Peters as incoming chair.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever?
Debate.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to cover all the bases, David. Usually, you'd be the first one. No, never mind. I didn't say that. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Justice?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we received an email from one commissioner wanting to be vice chair. We should have talked about probably this at workshop last week, but I wanted to check because it has been our long-standing process that, as Commissioner Latvala mentioned, our senior members, we go by seniority. And I didn't know, quite frankly, if Commissioner Flowers had an interest in serving as vice chair. If she did, I would nominate her as vice chair. But I wanted to get her input.
I did have an interest because I know it's not policy, but I guess it has been the practice of us, which is
For
why
decades, I
which
might
is
add.
why I stepped aside when I found out that was our practice. So that's why I stepped out of the picture when Commissioner Peters put her name up, and then I nominated her. So I would be interested. But again, I know it's not policy, but I know it has been a practice. But I did see the email from Commissioner Brian Scott.
So I have a question.
Yes.
And this is one of those policy unwritten rule things. I was informed that we do not normally have people or commissioners in positions of chair or vice chair in the year that they are up for reelection.
That's not true. That's not the case.
I'll make a comment about that. I have requested that be a policy.
Okay.
And matter of fact, I do plan, now that I've been nominated chair, bringing that handbook to all of you to get edits and make it a policy, because since I've been on here, we had one commissioner that used to introduce things and say, well, since we don't have any rules, I'm just going to do this. And because we don't have any rules, you can do that. We kind of just did that tonight, right? We didn't have rules, we just did that. But I think I think that an incumbent has a definite advantage over any other candidate. And so I think it's a good practice. And it's just my personal opinion. It's not a policy. I think it's a good practice that that you shouldn't be chair on the year that you're on the ballot. I just think there's a distinct advantage that, and Jewel, I don't think this is a legal thing, but to me, the media time that you get as chair, if there's an emergency, if there's a hurricane, the amount of, that is earned media that has a value as a candidate. And I think that's my personal opinion. So know that there's not a policy, because we have no policies. For the administration of this board doesn't have a rule book. We don't have a policy book. And I think there have been some rubs as a result of no clear guidance. And so that's why I plan on bringing that handbook forward to kind of just set up some rules. And I think that handbook could be, and it could be, that's every year the chair might change it for their tenure while they're chair on how they want to operate. That's kind of how we did it in the House of Representatives and the Senate. You guys are familiar with that every 2 years for each leadership, you vote on kind of the House rules, and it would be the kind of the commission rules. And I think it would add some clarity on some things that come up. So no, it's not a policy. It's a policy I desire to see forward. I think it could be a good practice to do.
I would agree with Commissioner Peters on that. And I do think there is a value in earning your way into leadership, and that it's just, in my mind, and all of you, please, when I say this, consider that this could be you that we're talking about. But, when you serve in public office, I think we all can agree, it is a big sacrifice. Your family sacrifices. You sacrifice a lot of your time. And most of us do it because it's a labor of love. And I know, because I've known her for so long, that Commissioner Flowers has been in public service for a very long time. She hasn't just served here, she has served on a city council, a large city council, by the way. She has also served on the Pinellas County School Board. She is a member of FAC and has risen into leadership there. She's also a member of NACO, and I know she's deeply involved in some of the issues there. And because of the length of the time that she's been on the county commission, she's been able to learn and observe and see the amount of work that goes on when you are chair. You know it, David. You know it, Charlie. I certainly know it. This is my second time. And while I have great respect and admiration for Commissioner Scott, he's not gone through a re-election effort here. This is only your second year. And I guess I'm curious about what you think, in your mind, makes you more qualified to be chair than Commissioner Flowers, who has been here much longer.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, Commissioner Flowers is certainly qualified to be vice chair. I have no doubt about that. I also have no doubt in my qualifications and ability to do that job as well. So, I mean, I put my hat in the ring. Anybody can put their hat in the ring for that job. So I have full faith in Commissioner Flowers, but I also have full faith in myself, which every one of us gets that job. We'll mutually support everybody, and life will go on. So however this works out, it works out. It's okay. She'll be fine, and I'll do fine. Everybody in this room is capable of doing that job. We all got here for a reason, and we are all leaders in our own right, and we will all do the best thing for the commission and the county.
And I have no disrespect towards Commissioner Flowers. She's going to be the only one in this room that will be leading FAC. In a few years, we're going to be referring to her as Madam President, not Madam Chair, Madam President. And I'm not sure exactly when that time is, like 4 years, I think, or 3 years. 3 years. And so that takes up quite a bit of responsibility. And so there's no slight. But I think that Commissioner Scott's credentials there's no reason for him to have to explain to himself why he needs to earn the vice chairmanship. But I would be proud to nominate him as the vice chair.
Okay, well, I meant no disrespect to anybody with my
No, I
remarks.
understand that.
And you also forgot to mention that it won't be very long from now that Commissioner Flowers is going to be referred to as Dr. Flowers.
Correct.
Because at the same time, she's been doing all of this and being a very thoughtful and
Saying how we're gonna do this, is it Dr. President? I said, no, just Renee.
I like Dr. President.
yeah. I mean, I was just teasing about that, but, you know, in all seriousness, I work really hard, but I just can't even imagine trying to get my doctorate degree and be a loving grandmother and all the other responsibilities that you have, Renee. So I commend you for your just desire to be the best you can be.
Just a
Yes.
procedural question, since I had thought we were operating under some rules, but apparently not.
Well,
There
apparently,
was a motion on the floor that had not been dispensed. I didn't hear a second, so I wanted an opportunity if there was my motion, if there was going to be a second, or if it was going to die for lack of a second.
I'll second.
So
repeat your motion, please.
to nominate Commissioner Flowers as vice chair.
And Commissioner Flowers has seconded it.
And are you up again for reelection?
Yes, I am.
You are. And
Raise my hand.
Yeah. Hold on, we're not there yet.
In answer to Commissioner Peters' question, yes, I am up for reelection next year. Because of the change in the legislation, I had to run again after being in office for 13 months.
so that's 24 while I'm chair, not
Yes, correct.
not 25.
Correct.
Got it.
I've already filed, and I probably shouldn't be getting into all that, but yes, next year for me. Okay. And allow me to say this. I do appreciate what you're saying about us needing to look at maybe putting some rules in place, because I know last year, Janet and I were, I think we volunteered to try to put something in place for like a standing operating procedure for the floor, for the operation of our floor. So I fully support, going through that, looking at that and seeing what things we can do that are in place so we're not shooting from the hip, if you will. So I do appreciate the direction and pushing that, because on city council, we had that. When I was on the school board, we had that. And then when we would get a new member on the school board, we would go through that with the person so that they would have some idea of this is how you do A, B, C, D, E. So
Well, that's a different subject. I'll do that later.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor to volunteer Commissioner Flowers to serve as vice chair. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Are you saying no?
I'm having a hard time.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
Do we need to take a little break?
Well, I didn't foresee this because she hadn't sent an email like last year, so I didn't foresee it. Thank you from above. I didn't foresee that because you hadn't sent an email before, and I know Brian's experience in all of the associations he's been chair of, so I know he's got experience as chair. So I didn't foresee it, and I have great respect for every person around this table, so.
It also goes without saying that our previous